Everyone. I don't know about you, but a lot of people are interested in doing revenge travel. And what revenge travel is basically making up for over a year and a half of not being able to travel. But if you're wondering where the cheap flight deals are and how to find cheap flights, this video is for you. So if you're new here, my name is Kim and I'm the creator of workhardtravelwell.com, and on this channel I talk about weekly travel tips around how to travel more and travel tips for busy professionals, as well as some tech and lifestyle videos. So let's get into the ways on how you can find cheap flights. And if you're watching, go ahead and check in on the chat and let me know that you're watching. But let's get into it. I want to go ahead and get into it. I wanted to do a quick live. I know everyone's probably having a good busy weekend, so I appreciate you for checking out this video. So let's get into it really quickly. Let me know if you can see my screen. You should be able to. But and thanks for checking in, everyone. So let's get into it really quickly. And I know you guys might know about some of these, but I wanted to point out what it's like to find travel deals right now, especially during we're not through COVID yet, but a lot of people are trying to get right back out there. So let's get into Google Flights. And Google Flights is pretty self-explanatory. It's probably what a lot of you all use, but I want to make sure that you know to basically use it in incognito. I'm not going to use it in incognito right now because I wouldn't be able to share my screen, but make sure that you use it in incognito. And what I like about it, and let me zoom in a little bit so you guys can see it. What I like about it is not only can you search multiple airlines, you can also go over here to the left side and hit explore. And if you're not sure where you want to go and you just on the fence about where you want to go, you can plug in your origin airport, as well as you can plug in, say I want to do a 1-week trip in 6 months. And you can put in your price cap, and then you can see what comes up. I want to do a 1-week trip in 6 months. This is just an example, and it populates different destinations you can go to per month and per city. And then you can also plug in if you are into outdoors, beaches, skiing, museums. And also you can plug in if you want to do a road trip. So you can see places reachable by plane or car. And so I think this is the pretty neat thing about it and of Google Flights. If you are not familiar with it, definitely check it out and play around, but it can give you some ideas for where you want to go and the prices. So let's say I click on Miami. It'll show you all of the flight options, and it'll show you basically ones that have stops, if there are any connections, and then you can also plug in if you're going to be checking bags so you can see it. And then on the right hand side, you'll see the flights that do not come with bags. So that's important to know. You can get a really cheap flight deal, but if it's international or something like Spirit, the prices of bags on airlines can really drive that cost up. So here is, Google Flights. Let's go on to the next one, which is SkyScanner. It's my favorite one. Let me know if you guys have heard about SkyScanner, and if you're getting value from this video, be sure to like it and subscribe to this channel and share it with others so that they can also benefit from finding cheap flights. Okay, so SkyScanner, I really like SkyScanner because once you plug in the your cities, you can select it by the entire month, or you can look for the cheapest month. So it already kind of does the work for you. And if you're flexible, you can select flexible. And then if you want to add nearby airports, you can do that as well. And of course, if you want to do nonstop flights, you can do that also. So once you plug in the cheapest months, I put Atlanta to Paris, and the cheapest months for going from Atlanta to Paris is going to be November of this year. And we'll get into this a little bit later, but if you know anything about going to Paris, it's going to be cheap that month, but it's not going to be ideal for weather. I'm from the South, so I'm not really a fan of traveling when it's cold, but this is what you can see. So you select the cheaper alternatives, and you can choose your return, and let's see, you have your options. It's cheap if you were to stay a few weeks, but if you don't have that time, you're looking at around $500. That's not too bad. From Atlanta, I've seen a little bit cheaper, around $495. So this is an option. And you can also explore hotels on SkyScanner, but I really like SkyScanner for the ability to be able to look at the calendar and select the cheapest month. But if you don't want to do this cheapest month, you can always just at the beginning search by month. So if you have a particular month in mind, that's how you would search. And all of these links I have included in a free download to basically shows you all the links that I use, not just for flights, but just for hotels, all of the discounts. So it's already in the description of this video, so make sure you get it. It's a free download. Okay. So next is Momondo. Uh-oh. Sorry about that, y'all. Okay, so next is Momondo. And you can look at some trending cities on Momondo, and then you can look at some of the best travel deals. But this is another way. And the goal of doing this is that you want to compare basically different flight deals. You don't want to just hop on any flight deal. You want to be able to quickly look at these websites and compare your options that you have. Okay, so I'll try another example. And Atlanta to, not PDK. I've been wanting to get back to Cape Town, so let's just see Cape Town. And I know that December is usually a good time to visit South Africa, November, December, and through the spring. So I'm just going to check out some dates and search. So it shows you the options basically, and another thing is you can see what happens if you change your dates by a few. It gives you roughly a couple of weeks to look at. So I selected 12/1 through 12/9, and it shows you like if you were to go to the 8th, it would jump the price up. And of course, returning on Christmas and New Year's Eve and New Year's Day would definitely drive the cost up. But you can see the different flight options over here on the left. You can hide if it's 2 or more stops. You can hide economy, hide red eye. So I really like this, and it also shows you just the different combinations. Like they don't just do with direct airlines. They'll mix up the airlines. So I really like that. And you can basically change the flight leg. So if you wanted it to be directly 18 hours, you could decrease that. So yes, these are the different options for Momondo. Have you guys heard of any of these? Okay, so lookup fare is another option where you can look up different airfares, and it shows you the different ones that you can look at, and then it also shows you the top destinations and some of the ones that you can save on. So I won't go through this. It's pretty much the same as all of the other sites, but I wanted you to make sure you knew about lookup fare. And Kiwi, let's see. And Kiwi.com is another website that you can look at to get additional flight deals, and there's some flexibility in the way that you can book it as far as refunds and things like that. And one thing I included in here is Southwest, because if you've noticed on any of these, and if you're in the US, Southwest does not allow for you to be able to doesn't flow to Google Flights or any of these sites. So it's best to go to Southwest directly if you are someone that likes to fly Southwest, because they also have cheap flight deals. And one thing I like about Southwest is the ability to be able to look at a month view of it, so that you can see basically like how we looked at with the other sites. You can see a month on there. You can see the special offers. If you're interested in learning more about Southwest, I know a lot of people are kind of hesitant to fly on Southwest because you can't choose your seat. But if you want to learn more about it, I have like several videos on my channel about what it's like flying Southwest during the pandemic, as well as just an overall guide to Southwest. So basically, when you go to flight, you can look at the low fare calendar, and that is a way for you to be able to see a month by month. So let's see Las Vegas. And another great thing about Southwest, of course, is that you don't have to pay for your checked bags. So if this is an option for you, Southwest, I would recommend searching the low fare calendar, and you can basically see which days it's best to travel on to get you, a low flight deal to go wherever you want to go. So those are a few of the websites that I use for basically cheap flights. And then as far as apps, I use Hopper, the Hopper app. And so you can't go to the website. You have to actually download the Hopper app. And I've actually created a little video where I already went through this because it's on my app. I wanted to share what it looks like. And you can basically put in your destination, but what I like about it too is you're able to select based on the green up would obviously be the cheapest, and you can look at a month by month and see which months would be cheapest to go to your destination. And so again, I'm looking at December dates because for Cape Town, South Africa, like I mentioned earlier, that's the cheapest, not the cheapest, the best time to visit that destination to get like good weather and things like that. Okay, so right here you can see, and hopefully it's not too small for you guys, but it was a screen recording. So right here you can look at the price prediction, and basically it shows you until until September 25th is when the prices will, pretty much stay about the same, but you can expect that it won't go down lower. It looks like right in this search it was about $900, which is not bad for Cape Town, from Atlanta at least. And you can also select at the top, you see where you can select to watch the fare. So that's one great thing about Hopper, is keeping a watch on it. Another thing about Hopper is you're able to you can do a price freeze. And once you do the price freeze, you can basically reserve the flight for up to 2 weeks, and you have to pay like $40, as you see. Buy now, pay later, for 14 days at $46. And you basically can reserve that, and if the flight does go up, Hopper basically pays for that difference. You're not responsible for that. So that's a way to reserve your flight, and you only pay like $46. Another option is a lot of people are doing like Klarna and buy now, pay later options. I have another video that I did last week on the options for buy now, pay later, where you just basically make monthly payments and you're not charged interest until the end of the term. So it's kind of like you got to compare if you want to do a lock-in rate versus whatever the interest would be for if you weren't going to pay it off at a certain time. So that is an option. But I really like what you can do here is basically set the ability to be able to watch the flight and get notifications on and price predictions on the flights. So make sure you guys download the Hopper app. Okay, so another great thing is if you have these websites you can look at. You have the app Hopper, but you can also look at investing or getting a travel credit card. And I would recommend a travel credit card at least once for one for someone. So it's very helpful to build credit and also to protect you while you're traveling. So choose an airline that you use a lot of and that you're in the hub. I'm in Atlanta, so I have the option of flying on Southwest or Delta, and I have both of those credit cards. In my download, you can see which ones that I use and which ones I recommend. But I use both of those, and I'm able to get basically discounted travel. And I know a lot of people say, you're still paying if you're using a credit card, but I use my credit card for things like my monthly bill. So I'm not just out here charging stuff just to get points. I'm using it strategically so that I'm not running up a bill, and I'm making sure that I pay within that same monthly cycle so that I'm not incurring interest. So that's my tidbit on travel credit cards. Okay, so next is emails and social media. So if you've heard of Scott's Cheap Flights, that is something you need to sign up for. It's an email you put in your home airport, and you get daily emails, or however you want to set up the frequency, to have flight deals sent to your inbox. A word of caution now is it used to be free to see the exact dates, but now they make you pay for like a premium setup to see the actual dates. But you can see that there's a flight deal for free from your origin city to a destination, and then if you wanted to do some more investigation on your own, you could look at that, or you can pay for premium. Airfare Watchdog, I would follow them on either your preferred social media, Twitter or Facebook, and sign up for their emails. Secret secretflying.com is a site that does airfares and flight deals. And if you're not familiar with airfares, that is basically when a company airline puts out like air deals and might make a mistake. I know, and you might have heard of the deal back in a few years ago where everyone got like an insanely cheap flight to Abu Dhabi. And so that is where I would keep my eye out on for airfares, is at secretflying.com. And the Fair Deal Alert also posts deals on their social media. So just make a list. If you're on Twitter, you can make a list of all these companies to follow, and on Facebook you can start to save these things, and I would follow them if you're interested in learning about flight deals. And yep, so those are some recommendations. I would say, let's see, just some additional tips and things to consider is definitely consider these airline deals. Make sure you've checked out if bags are included. If not, you need to understand the cost, especially if it's international. Baggage could cost a lot. And also if the ticket includes food, drinks, and the ability to pick your seat. Some of these flight deals might not allow you to pick your seat. So just kind of be, aware of that before you jump on the deal. And review the cost of things at the destination, including accommodations, because you can also look up cost of things like how much does a meal cost, just kind of so you know what's going on in the destination and you're not kind of shocked. And review accommodations. I know right now these companies seem like they're trying to basically make up for all the money they lost last year, and there's so many different like excessive fees, resort fees, testing fees, all of that. So before you jump on that flight deal, definitely make sure you look at the cost of accommodations in that location. Check out the flight deals and review it against when's the best time to visit the destination. Like we looked at earlier, Paris was noted as November was the cheapest month, but if that's not something you want to do as far as visiting when it's cold, then that might not be an option for you, and you might have to look at, spending a little bit more to get the ideal time that you want to visit. And just in general, you should always kind of be aware of what's going on. I actually had a layover in Dubai coming back from Thailand, and my main focus of the trip was Thailand, but I, was excited to have this stopover in Dubai, but it was actually during Ramadan, and there was a lot of limitations on things you could do, such as, eating in public and things like that. So you want to be aware of what's going on before you hop on the flight deal and make sure it's the best time, or at least an ideal time to visit, and that you're going to be able to see, get a good experience while you're there. And be flexible. Look at the month view like we looked at earlier so that you can get a good flight deal. Use sites like SkipLag with caution. I did not put it in my best places to find cheap deals because SkipLag, if you're not familiar with it, shows you cheap flights, but there are some caveats to it. It'll be a cheap flight, but it'll basically kind of look at the system so that, say you're going from Atlanta to Colombia or something, and it basically looks at building it in so you can get off the plane instead of going on to the next destination. So it'll build in an itinerary with different stops, but you're probably getting off at like the middle stop and going on, and of course you're not checking bags. But I've heard mixed reviews. I've heard some people, love it, and then some people have got caught at the airport where they're like, we need to see your return flight itinerary and things like that. So I would caution against it. I don't really use SkipLag, but just putting it out there so you know that it's an option to look at stopping over, look at layovers, and then getting off the flight and not continuing on to the final destination. So that's why I say use it with caution. Okay, so also you can look at flying from another hub. I've showed a lot of my flights out of Atlanta examples, but one time I did fly from JFK to Italy because it was actually a 2-for-1 deal with Emirates. So it came out to like $400 and something to go from JFK to Italy, Milan, and I used points from Atlanta to JFK to get to, so that wouldn't cost anything, and then just going from JFK to Milan. So definitely good to look at that. And when you get to the destination, consider regional carriers for multi-city stops. So an example of this would be when I went to South Africa. I actually flew directly from Atlanta to Johannesburg, but when I got there, I flew on South African Airways. I flew on a bunch of different airlines there to make it a multi-city destination flight. And then also, like in Europe, EasyJet Airlines is a really good airline. They're basically no frills, so you pay for a really cheap flight, but you have to, pay to pick your seat and all of that stuff, pay for your bag. But consider that when you get to the destination. So don't just think you have to put in multi-cities when you're looking at these sites. You can do like a straight shot or one flight to that destination and then hop around using some of the regional carriers. If you're in Europe, though, sometimes it's better to take a high-speed train. Those go like over 180 miles per hour. So that's just some things to consider. And also, I would say get travel insurance. So there are options for travel insurance that you can purchase with the flight. There are also options on your credit card that include like some limited flight insurance. But I buy my own travel insurance because it includes medical. It can include, of course, lost bags and things like that. It expands beyond the flight insurance that you would buy in addition to your ticket. And also you can include right now, there's some travel insurances that built in if you were to get sick due to COVID and you had trip interruption and things like that. And also I get travel insurance for my electronics. So basically anything I have in my bags that something happens to it is injured, or not injured, but basically it breaks, and like my camera or something, I can either get it repaired at the destination and then I get reimbursed, or so I would definitely tell you to get travel insurance. And in my download that I mentioned earlier, you can download that and it'll have information on travel insurance recommendations. So that's all I have for as far as the best places and how to find cheap flights. And definitely, if you find this helpful, you can support this channel by buymeacoffee.com/KimH. You can send a super chat right now. And also you can look at the Work Hard, Travel Well, basically my online store. And right now I have a promotion where you can receive free shipping if you use code YouTube. So make sure you check out that. And I'm going to do right now any questions that you have. I see there's still some people online, but I wanted to get through this and definitely wanted to go live for June. Next week I won't be live, but I'll have a video posted. Next week I'm be taking off for my birthday, but I will have a video posted. So let's get into some questions. If you have any, let me know. And let's see, we have Empress Vibes checking in. She said, good evening, great content. I appreciate you, Empress Vibes, for checking out the channel. And we have Mahogany watching. Thanks for the tips, no problem. Be sure that you all subscribe to this channel if you're not already, and share this video with people that might find it helpful. And I see my aunt's checking in. Appreciate you checking in. And I see Points Blank Travel checking in. Definitely, I'm glad you were able to check out my live. Thanks for joining. If you guys have not checked out his channel, I talked about briefly on the surface, cheap flights can be accommodated with or accomplished with like travel credit cards and points. But this guy, Rod at Points Blank Travel, has an entire channel dedicated to travel credit cards, travel points. Like, he has reviews on every card you can think of. So if you want to know more about travel credit cards and travel points, definitely check out Points Blank Travel. Subscribe to his channel and catch him. I think he's going live. He may be going live tonight, but he goes live a lot. So make sure you check it out because you will learn so much. And I think that's all we have. I'm going to end it unless anyone has any questions. Let me know. I'll keep it open for like a couple of more minutes, but I appreciate you for watching. And you guys have a great Sunday evening. And I will make sure you guys check out my video next week on Sunday. I post weekly videos on Sunday. Until next time, bye-bye.